What's up, jammies? Welcome back to another episode of Ricky's Ram Jam presented by Barefoot Wine. And if you'll raise up your Barefoot Wine, because today is a very special episode of Ricky's Ram Jam. It is episode number 50. That feels like such an accomplishment. I'm so proud of all that we've done together, jammies, how much we have had fun just diving into this Rams team for 50 episodes. So raise your barefoot and let's cheers to 50 more. Thank you all for listening, watching, commenting, sharing, following along. It's been so fun, and I can't wait for the next 50. Big show coming up today. Cynthia Frelund is going to join me to preview the Seattle game and talk a little bit more of that TNF exciting win. But first, we have to get to the coin toss. How good did that Cooper Kupp touchdown feel? Congrats if you called it last week in the comments. And I'm going to go back and check and see who actually claimed it and who didn't. Cooper got in the end zone, and what a fashion in which he did that. I mean, Matthew Stafford just dipping and dodging those two defenders. Oh my gosh, it was beautiful. Here's what they had to say about it after the game.
Someone just recently did that duck through, ran up and made a play. Sorry about that. And, Matthew was saying before, it was literally this morning, he's like, I'm just too old to be, making that move. It works, I'm too old to be doing that. And I had a great view of him doing the exact thing right there. After he threw the ball, I was looking for him, you liar.
Yeah, I said it. Fear is a hell of a motivator, So
I love to see how their connection on the field is just as strong as it is off the field. Oh, that felt awesome. So this week's coin toss, option 1. Puka had an amazing game on Thursday night, but he didn't get in the end zone. So option 1 for the coin toss is a Puka Nacua touchdown. And option 2, let's go 2 or more sacks of Geno Smith. So what's it going to be? Option 1 or 2? Let us know below. Joining me now, and only fitting, is one of my dear friends, Cynthia Frelund. Cynthia, this is episode 50 of Ricky's Ram Jam, so I'm honored to have you on.
I feel so honored. This is fantastic. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited. I looked down today when I was going through getting ready for show prep and was like, oh my God, it's episode 50. That's crazy. So I'm excited.
That's something to celebrate.
Absolutely. And something to celebrate is just seeing you as well. It makes my heart so happy. How did you feel Thursday Night Football watching the Rams dominate in primetime?
Kind of like what I thought I would see from this team ahead of the season. The number of injuries was just ridiculous. And seeing the team kind of all in full force, I didn't expect Puka Nacua to look like that. We didn't even know he was going to play. All week long, it was will Cooper Kupp play? Maybe. And it didn't even seem like Puka Nacua was a possibility. So to see him out there looking so healthy, it's really kind of fascinating that, when your good players are there, it's easier to play football, as it turns out.
Yeah, totally. And 2 wins in 5 days to get to 3 and 4. Coach McVay said something this week on the Coach McVay show that stuck with me personally and professionally. He said, tough times don't last, tough people do. And that really resonated with me. So how impressed have you been with the way the Rams have battled adversity to get back into this NFC West race?
I think it's always interesting that teams often take on the personality of their head coach. So I do think that it's kind of the same thing about this team, right? The tough times, they, knock on wood, don't seem to have last. I'm just saying, injuries can always happen, but it seems like things are looking up significantly. But to stay focused and to stay really in the spirit of knowing who you are and what you are supposed to be doing, which is what Coach McVay does so well. That is what I'm most impressed with this team. People have stepped up from out of the woodworks, and we'll see now how it all can come together in this next matchup.
Puka and Cooper, they looked completely back to old form. It was really exciting to just witness. How does having these two in the lineup change the dynamic of this offense?
Well, we already knew how good Kyren Williams is. That touchdown streak it's just amazing, right? But also, when you get a little bit more space to work with, everything else works really well too. Matthew Stafford's on and off splits when one of them or both of them are gone, they just show you how having space to work with, defenses not knowing where you're going to throw to, and having 2 threats that are legitimate home run threats on every play, that obviously it's going to make it much harder to defend. So all the things work together. It's complementary football at its best, right? When you have more space for the run game to work, more space for potential passes to be caught and defensive backs not knowing which one is going to catch. So that's how it's supposed to work, and it's better when it does.
Yeah, it's very exciting when it works. And the Rams are still missing a couple linemen, Steve Avila and Jonah Jackson, but the O-line kept Matthew pretty clean against a very tough Vikings, front, which was really exciting. So when they get everyone back to full strength, like the offense is just going to be dangerous. You talked about Coach McVay and just sort of the grittiness and what he does. There was such a wholesome moment. So he's now the winningest. I always mess up saying that word. The winningest coach in franchise history. And he did it on his son's first birthday under the lights on Thursday. How has he changed the culture of this franchise and just like affected the league as a whole?
Coming in after the move and kind of getting everything in form and then really figuring out and identifying who he wanted his leaders to be. Obviously, Aaron Donald was one of them for a really long time, but bringing in Matthew Stafford, there you go. I mean, you don't replace 99. They did a really good job adding to, but you never, I mean, that's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Easy, right? So yeah, but identifying on offense specifically, what are the characteristics they're looking for, kind of getting rid of things that didn't fit for him. It doesn't mean that they aren't good elsewhere. People are thriving other places, but the reality is if that's not who works in your system or your, vibes aren't strong, then get the ones who are. So really having a good identity and a really big sense of self. Like I just think that is what he brings. That is what he's, contributed to this Rams legacy. And it's very fitting that he's the most winningest, whatever. That is it's a weird
Isn't
word.
It hard to say?
He is the coach with the best win percentage in whatever it is. Yeah. Most winningest sounds terrible English, but whatever. I'm not a grammar patrol, so
yeah, but, yeah. Winningest sounds, but it's a great accolade. 80 total wins, including playoffs, which he is just a badass
and a big fat ring on his finger. So
yes, yeah, exactly. So he deserves it and deserves a bunch more. So let's keep those coming. The last time the Rams visited Seattle, guys like Puka, Kyron, Byron Young, Kobe Turner weren't really on anybody's radar. They, last year, I believe they were calling Rams like the no names, quote unquote. Are you surprised at how quickly these guys have become household names?
I mean, I would say kind of yes and no. I mean, I say yes because I want to give credit to the people who did a good job of finding not necessarily like people who everyone, there's a lot of consensus building in the NFL, right? Like we hear it all the time when we go to the combine, et cetera. Like, hey, have you heard of Caleb Williams? Everyone else, so finding these people who weren't necessarily these household names to begin with. So I want to say, yes, like I'm excited about it because I want to give some credit to what Les Snead and company have done, but also I'm not surprised because of how well this team knows its identity and what the expectations are. They lay that out very clearly so people can meet and exceed those. So, I mean, yes, because I want to give them credit, but no, because not to say it's expected, but I do believe that teams who know who they are have a better chance of finding those players than teams that don't know who they are.
Geno Smith has been sacked 21 times this season. Do you expect this Rams young pass rush to pressure Geno early and often, or what are you looking at with this game?
Geno Smith's had some of the most interesting games. Like sometimes he comes out there and just looks electric. And who cares about this pressure? Doesn't matter. In the beginning of the season, we didn't know how this new offensive coordinator, what would it look like, right? Ryan Grubb, he comes from college. He's bringing some college things in, shifts, motions, stuff like that. Okay. Then on defense, we're bringing in sort of a Ravens mentality. Okay. So what are we going to get now going forward? Well, now we've seen the pressures are starting to get to Geno Smith. The difference of that Atlanta game where he really didn't see a lot of pressure. And then last week's game where Buffalo made it very difficult for him. You see the big difference. So I'm curious to see if they go back to some of these motions and some of the things that were helping Geno escape pressure and see if they can add some wrinkles and folds to that, like in the beginning of the season, or what we're going to see here. Because if you let, especially those rookies and Kobe Turner, of course, in the second years, come after this man, it's going to be very difficult for them to succeed in the passing game specifically. So I'm interested to see if they can adjust and adapt a little bit, because that was not a strong outing last week against the Bills.
Yeah, Jared Verse has been impressive in his rookie campaign. I know he's only 7 games in, but he's become a guy that teams are going to need to plan for. And I think Seattle is looking at this front, game planning for some of our rookies, which is exciting.
Yeah, I mean, look, Seattle's interesting because they also have kind of interesting splits when the run game works and when it doesn't. So I know we were talking about, the versatility of the rookies, especially in the passing game and getting pressure on the quarterback, but shutting down Kenneth Walker and or Zach Charbonnet, if they decide to roll with him a little bit more, that's going to be a pretty big factor in this one too. So, I'm curious to see, because last week they didn't have any answers for the Bills. So, and they put that on film, which I'm certain will be something that the Rams are looking at to see as they go forward.
Yeah, Seattle has lost 4 of 5, and those losses have given up an average of 35 points. So I would love to hear your perspective on this Rams offense when it's firing on all cylinders, if you think that they're going to do that this weekend as well.
That's the matchup to me. Can the Rams offense continue to get the explosive plays? We know Kyron Williams is good. We know he gets you some great yardage on first and second down, but to beat the Seahawks division game where the 12s are going to be loud, can you keep getting those explosive plays? Can the Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp show, I don't care which one it is, but one of them needs to be able to make those explosive plays happen. And it just takes 2 or 3 a game. Doesn't need to be like 16, right? But like just a couple of a game to break it open, and just, against the secondary that is a very good secondary, and especially when they're healthy.
Yeah, 10 days, semi mini bye from Thursday. So to get everyone kind of healthy, feeling good out of that game, I'm really, really looking forward to this matchup. It's going to be exciting. Cynthia, before I let you go, it is the Ram Jam where I asked my guests the same 3 questions every week. Describe your perfect day, like start to finish. Like what would be your perfect day?
Ooh, I mean, I was going to give you the answer from Miss Congeniality. Like, she's like April 15th or whatever.
Yep.
But that was her favorite date. Anyways, my perfect day. That's a good one. I really do. Like, I love my dogs quite a bit. I have 2 rescue dogs, and we live down by the beach. So I would start off by going for a walk with my dogs, and then I like going to work and to watch games, see some friends, and just have like a nice dinner, and then be in bed early. I'm old these days, girl. I need to go to bed.
I love that. Which celebrity would you like to switch lives for one day?
For one day?
Only one day.
God, a celebrity. Who's like, I think I'd probably want to do something. Like, I would like to know what it would feel like to like be like Aaron Donald when he was playing, right? Like, so maybe I'll pick, let's go with like one that's a little bit older, because I don't want to get rookie. I don't want to get like that. I want the veteran respect. So right. I want to know what it feels like to be Myles Garrett for a day.
Okay.
I just want to know what it feels like to chase someone that would actually be scared. No one's scared of me.
No one's really scared of me either. So that's a good one. Iced coffee on a snowy day or hot coffee in a heat wave?
Hot coffee in a heat wave, baby.
Huh. All right. She's got it now. It is cooler out. It is cooler out this week, finally, which is nice.
For whatever reason, the only thing that I will drink hot is coffee, and I morning coffee, I love it. Just give it to me. It's great. I like it warm. It's the only thing I drink hot. Everything else is cold.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Cynthia, thank you so much for your time. I know you're so busy, and you're previewing every single game, and you're all over Twitter, and you're crushing it. And I just love to watch you succeed. And thank you for making time for episode 50.
Listen, happy episode 50. Congratulations. I'm so proud of you. And also, watching on that big old screen at SoFi is very good. I'm like, I know her.
Oh, I love you. Awesome, Cynthia. Thank you so much. There she goes. Thank you, Cynthia, as always, for stopping by. So great to see you. All right, Jammies, I hope you enjoyed your mini bye, but now it's time to lock in because we're heading to Seattle. Time to beat the Hawks. Let's ram it.